Hello, hello. It's such a joy to be with you today. I want to speak a word into your heart that I believe is going to stir something deep inside you, Sue. You didn't come here by accident. You're not hearing this message by chance. God is trying to wake something up in you. Today, I want to talk to you about stop being lazy. I know that might sound a little harsh, but stay with me. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to lift you, to remind you that there is power inside you, potential inside you waiting to rise. You are not lazy. Let me say that again, you are not lazy. You may have felt lazy, you may have acted lazy, but that's not who you are. That is not your name. That is not your destiny. Laziness is not your identity, it's just a temporary condition. It's something you're passing through, not something you were born to become. Think about it like catching a cold. Just because you have a cold doesn't mean your body is broken. It means something affected you. Maybe you didn't rest enough. Maybe you were exposed to something. Maybe your immune system was low for a season. But you never say, I am the cold. You say, I have a cold. And you take steps to treat it. You hydrate, you rest, you take medicine, you give your body what it needs to bounce back. Laziness is just like that. It's a condition that shows up when we're depleted, discouraged, disconnected from purpose. But hear me, it can be treated. It can be healed. It can be overcome. But you've got to stop calling it who you are. See, when you label yourself as lazy, you chain yourself to it. You start building an identity around that idea. You say things like, I'm just not a morning person, or I always procrastinate, or that's just who I am, I don't finish things. And little by little, you stop trying, you stop dreaming, you stop believing you can change. But I want you to know today, God didn't create you to be a quitter. He didn't design you to drift through life. He put strength in you, focus in you, fire in you. You were made to move. You were made to build. You were made to shine. I remember talking to a young man who told me, Joel, I think I'm just lazy. I asked him, why do you say that? He said, because I keep putting things off. I sleep late. I waste time. I don't do what I say I'm going to do. I said, those are behaviors. That's not your identity. Those are symptoms of something deeper. What's going on inside you? And as we talked, he admitted he'd been feeling discouraged. Life hadn't gone the way he expected. He did some setbacks. Some things didn't work out. So he started losing hope. He started numbing out. And that so-called laziness was really just a response to pain. Friend, that's how it is for many of us. What we call laziness is often unresolved disappointment. It's delayed dreams. It's buried frustration. But instead of dealing with what's under the surface, we call ourselves names. We put ourselves down. We agree with the lie. But God says something different. He says in Ephesians 2:10, you are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. That doesn't sound lazy to me. That sounds like someone created on purpose for purpose. Someone with divine potential inside. Maybe you're a single parent, exhausted from the weight of it all. Maybe you're a college student who's lost direction. Maybe you're in your 40s, looking around and wondering, why am I still stuck? And the enemy wants to whisper, you're lazy, you're a failure, you'll never change. But let me tell you something, that voice is a liar. You are not what you feel in this season. Your inactivity is not a prophecy, it's a pause. And the moment you decide, this is not who I am, you start turning the page. You start writing a new chapter. There's a man in the Bible named Gideon. When the angel of the Lord found him, Gideon was hiding scared, unsure, discouraged. But the angel didn't call him coward. He called him mighty warrior. Isn't that something? God doesn't call you by your condition. He calls you by your calling. So maybe you've been inactive. Maybe you've been sleeping on your potential. Maybe your house is cluttered, your goals are dusty, your dreams are on the shelf. That doesn't make you lazy. That means you need a wake-up call. That means it's time to remember who you are. You're a child of God. You've got greatness in your DNA. You've got discipline in your bones. And even if you've messed up for weeks, for months, maybe even for years today can be different. Not because you feel different, but because you've chosen to believe different. Start by speaking that this is not who I am. I may feel lazy, but I am not lazy. I may have slowed down, but I'm not done. I may be behind, but I'm catching up. When you change your confession, you change your direction. You might not feel it yet. That's okay. Feelings come and go, but truth remains. And the truth is, laziness is not your identity. It's a season, it's a signal. And more than anything, it's a challenge to rise, a challenge to grow, a challenge to take one small step forward. So take that step today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel like it. Take the trash out, open the laptop, clean the corner, make the phone call, do something. Because you're not lazy, you are powerful, and it's time to act like it. You're not stuck. You're just starting again. Sometimes we wait on God, but the truth is God is waiting on us. He's already given us the tools, the talents, the ideas, and the strength. But we're sitting still, praying for a breakthrough while ignoring the small steps right in front of us. It's not that God doesn't want to bless you. He absolutely does, but he's not going to do what he's already empowered you to do. Think about this. If a parent tells their teenage son, go clean your room, and the child says, I'm praying about it, we'd laugh. Because no amount of prayer will clean that room. The broom is in the closet. The trash can is right there. The time is available. But sometimes we act like that with God. We pray and wait, but don't move. There's a story in the Bible that illustrates this perfectly. In Exodus, God had just freed the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. They were standing at the edge of the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army closing in behind them. The people were terrified, crying out. And Moses said, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Sounds spiritual, doesn't it? But then God responded in a way that might surprise you. God said, why are you crying out to me? Tell the people to move forward. God was saying, you've already got what you need. I didn't bring you this far to freeze in fear. Take a step and I'll meet you there. That's how God works. He performs miracles when we take responsibility. He blesses obedience, not hesitation. He multiplies what we give him, not what we hide. Let's bring that into your daily life. Maybe you've been saying, God, help me get in shape. That's a good prayer, but your running shoes are collecting dust. Your fridge is full of junk food. You've got time in the evening, but the couch keeps calling. Friend, God's not going to do the push-ups for you. He's not going to meal prep your veggies. He's not going to delete that food delivery app. That's on you. You don't need a miracle, you need movement. Or maybe you're asking God to send you a better job. You want favor, opportunity. But have you fixed your resume? Have you applied? Have you reached out to anyone? Favor isn't magic, it's multiplied when we move in faith. The door can't open if you don't knock. We often treat laziness like it's a spiritual problem, but it's usually a choice problem. We've gotten too comfortable waiting. We've spiritualized procrastination. But hear me today, faith is not passive. Faith moves, faith works, faith shows up. God won't drive the car for you, but he'll bless the destination if you're willing to start the engine. Even Jesus, in John 5, encountered a man who had been lying by the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. This man believed that if he could just get into the water when it was stirred, he'd be healed. But every time someone got there before him, Jesus didn't say, let me carry you into the pool. He said, get up, pick up your mat and walk. Think about that. Jesus was saying, I'm not going to do what you're capable of doing. The healing was divine, but the rising that was his, God's power met the man's decision. What if your breakthrough is on the other side of effort? What if you're one bold action away from momentum? It's easy to want results without resistance, but the soil doesn't produce fruit just because the farmer prays over it. He's got to plant, he's got to water, he's got to work, and then God brings the growth. The truth is there's no blessing in laziness. God can't multiply what you're not willing to offer. The fish and loaves had to be handed to Jesus before he multiplied them. The widow had to pour her last oil before the jars were filled. The disciples had to cast their nets before the boat overflowed. They had to act first. So what's in your hand? What small step can you take today? Maybe it's setting your alarm and getting up on time. Maybe it's finally opening that book, making that phone call, cleaning that space. Whatever it is, don't wait on God to do your part. He's already shown up. Now it's your move. You might say, but I don't feel like it. That's okay. Feelings follow action. Sometimes your feelings won't get in line until your feet do. Take one step and the energy will come. Take another and the clarity will come. Before you know it, discipline becomes habit and habit becomes breakthrough. God is not a genie. He's a partner He works with you, not just for you. And he's already given you more than you realize. You've got wisdom, you've got ideas, you've got time, you've got strength. And most of all, you've got his Spirit inside you. That means you're not waiting on heaven, heaven is waiting on you. So stop asking God to remove the mountain if you're not willing to climb. Stop begging for harvest if you haven't planted seed. It's not that God's being silent. It's that he's already spoken and he's waiting for you to move on what he said. When you do what you can do, God will do what only he can do. You bring the natural. He'll bring the supernatural. You move in obedience and watch heaven show up, because that's who our God is. But he won't do for you what you can do for yourself. We live in a world that glorifies motivation. You scroll through social media, and it's filled with quotes, hype videos, and speeches that fire you up for a moment. And don't get me wrong, motivation is great. It can light a spark. But here's the truth, motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. One day you're ready to take on the world, and the next day you don't even want to get out of bed. That's why discipline is greater. Discipline is the decision to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is what separates wishful thinking from actual growth. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline keeps you going. And the people you admire, the ones who are successful, fulfilled, healthy, and grounded, they didn't get there because they were always motivated. They got there because they made a decision. They built habits. They kept showing up even when it wasn't exciting. Discipline doesn't shout, it whispers. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. It says, do it anyway. And every time you obey that whisper, you're building muscle, mental muscle, spiritual muscle, character muscle. Motivation is like the weather. It changes with your mood, your environment, your energy. But discipline is like a thermostat. You set it, and it stays. You don't wait to see how you feel. You decide who you are, and you act accordingly. Even in the Bible, we see this principle. In 1 Corinthians 9:27, the Apostle Paul says, I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. That's Paul, the same man who wrote half the New Testament. He didn't say, I wait until I'm motivated to do what's right. No, he trained himself. He didn't allow feelings to rule his choices. Discipline is what helps you read your Bible when you're tired. It's what gets you out of bed to pray, even when your emotions are dry. It's what keeps you working toward your goals when nobody's clapping for you. It's what makes you apologize when your pride says, don't. It's what turns a dreamer into a doer. Think about David. Before he ever faced Goliath, he was disciplined in the field. He wasn't slaying giants on day one. He was taking care of sheep, practicing his sling, staying faithful in the mundane. His victory in public was rooted in years of discipline in private. Maybe you're feeling stuck right now. You started something strong, a business, a Bible plan, a fitness goal, but you've lost your drive. And you're thinking, if only I could get my motivation back. But I want to encourage you, you don't need more hype. You need more habits. You don't need a spark. You need structure. Because true growth doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. Start small. Start where you are. Set a simple routine. Decide, I'm going to wake up 30 minutes earlier. I'm going to work on my dream for 20 minutes a day. I'm going to commit to one disciplined act every day. You might not see the change overnight, but discipline is like compound interest. It grows slowly, then suddenly. Maybe you're feeling stuck right now. You started something strong, a business, a Bible plan, a fitness goal, but you've lost your drive. And you're thinking, if only I could get my motivation back. But I want to encourage you, you don't need more hype. You need more habits. You don't need a spark. You need structure. Because true growth doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. Start small. Start where you are. Set a simple routine. Decide, I'm going to wake up 30 minutes earlier. I'm going to work on my dream for 20 minutes a day. I'm going to commit to one disciplined act every day. You might not see the change overnight, but discipline is like compound interest. It grows slowly, then suddenly. And here's the beautiful part. The more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes. You build momentum. You gain confidence. You realize, hey, I don't need to feel like doing it. I just need to do it. And that realization sets you free. You're no longer a slave to moods or emotions. You become steady, strong, focused. God blesses discipline. He honors commitment. In Proverbs 13:4, it says, The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Notice that it doesn't say the soul of the motivated, it says the diligent. That's the person who keeps showing up. So don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until you feel it. Choose discipline. Practice it. And watch as your life begins to shift not in one giant leap, but in daily steps of faithfulness. Because at the end of the day, motivation is a mood, but discipline is a decision. And that decision will take you places motivation never could. We've all used them. I don't have enough time. I'm too tired. It's not the right season. I'll start tomorrow. Excuses feel comfortable. They protect us from discomfort. They explain away delay. But make no mistake, excuses are not your friends. They're the enemies of your growth. They disguise themselves as logic, as self-care, as timing, but they quietly hold you back from stepping into the life God has for you. Excuses sound innocent, but they're dangerous. They're like anchors wrapped in cotton. You barely feel the weight at first, but over time, they keep you grounded, stuck in the same place, spinning in circles, never soaring like you were meant to. Imagine this. You wake up with a dream in your heart. You want to write that book, start that business, go back to school, heal your health, restore a Cal relationship. You know it's possible, but instead of moving toward it, your mind starts making excuses. I'm not good enough. I don't have the experience. I've failed before. And little by little, that dream sits on the shelf. Here's what I've learned. God can open doors, but he won't drag you through them. He can call you, equip you, even surround you with favor, but if you keep rehearsing excuses, you'll talk yourself out of the very thing you prayed for. Let's take a look at Moses. When God called him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses didn't jump up and say, let's go. He said, but Lord, I don't speak well, I stutter. What if they don't believe me? In other words, he had excuses. And what did God do? He didn't say, you're right, I'll choose someone else. No, he reminded Moses, who gave human beings their mouths? Is it not I, the Lord? God was saying, I'm not asking for your perfection. I'm asking for your obedience. See, excuses limit us not because they're true, but because we believe them. You've got to learn to challenge the voice that tells you you can't. Most of the time, that voice is fear in disguise. It's trying to keep you comfortable. But comfort is not your calling. Growth lives on the other side of uncomfortable. One man told me, Joel, I just don't have the time to pursue my dream. I gently asked him to walk me through his day. As we talked, he realized he was spending 3 to 4 hours a night watching TV, scrolling on his phone, doing things that didn't align with the life he wanted. That wasn't a time issue, it was an excuse issue. Once he saw that, he started reclaiming his evenings. Now he's building a business, writing music, and living with purpose. Not because the hours changed, but because his mindset did. Maybe for you, the excuse is I'm too old or I missed my chance. But let me remind you, God's not bound by your calendar. He doesn't operate on human deadlines. Sarah had a baby in her 90s. Caleb said at 85, give me this mountain. It's not about your age, it's about your willingness. Don't let the excuse of too late rob you of what God can still do. Or maybe your excuse is, I failed too many times. Friend, failure is not final unless you quit. Every success story has chapters of struggle. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb worked. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before someone believed in his chicken recipe. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. What if they had let those excuses win? You've got to shift your thinking. Stop rehearsing your limitations and start declaring your potential. Instead of saying, I don't have what it takes, start saying, God has given me everything I need. Instead of saying, it's too hard, say, with God, all things are possible. Excuses thrive in silence and passivity. But when you expose them to the truth, they lose their power. So speak against them. Replace them. I don't have time becomes I will make time for what matters. I'm not ready becomes I'm growing every day. I've never done this before becomes every expert was once a beginner. Discipline yourself to take action, even if it's small, because action kills excuses. When you start moving, your brain stops looking for reasons to wait. It starts looking for ways to win. Here's the thing, God has planted something special inside you. He's given you a calling, a passion, a unique assignment. But if you keep entertaining excuses, you'll keep aborting opportunities you were made for more. But you've got to stop settling for less. You might say, Joel, I've lived with excuses for so long, I don't even know where to start. That's okay. Start with one decision, just one. Set the alarm 15 minutes earlier. Walk around the block, write one page, make one phone call. When you act in faith, God adds his favor. Excuses are the enemy's way of getting you to live small. But you weren't created for small. You were created to rise. So shut the door on excuses, starve them of your attention, and feed your faith with action. Because your elevation is on the other side of your obedience. And remember this, excuses will always be available, but so is the opportunity to rise. Choose to rise. Success doesn't arrive in a lightning bolt. It doesn't fall from the sky or show up in a gift-wrapped packet. Your future, the life you dream of, the calling God has placed on your heart is not somewhere out there waiting to drop into your lap. No, it's already hidden in the small decisions you make every single day. You don't wake up one day suddenly fit, wealthy, wise, or spiritually strong. Those things are not events, they're outcomes. And those outcomes are built piece by piece in the small, often unnoticed, repetitive things you do each day. That's why your routine matters more than you think. Your destiny is not in some distant dream, it's in your daily discipline. Think about it like a garden. No one plants a seed today and expects fruit tomorrow. You water it, you protect it, you pull the weeds. And you keep doing that day after day, even when it looks like nothing's happening. Then one day, something breaks through the soil. That's what your daily routine is doing. Every small, faithful act is cultivating the soil of your future. You might not see it now, but you're planting a harvest. Let me give you a real-life example. There was a young woman who had a dream of becoming a published author, but she worked full-time and barely had a moment to spare. Instead of waiting for a big break or the perfect time, she made a decision every day she would write for just 30 minutes. Not a book in a weekend, not an entire chapter a night, just 30 minutes. She set a timer. She turned off distractions, and she showed up daily. It didn't feel glamorous. Some days she was tired. Some days she wrote only a paragraph. But she stayed faithful. After a few months, she had a rough draft. After a year, she had a finished book. That book was eventually published, and today she's a full-time author. What unlocked that future? Not a lucky break, not overnight success. A simple, intentional daily routine. We often underestimate the power of our habits. We say, it's just one workout I skipped. It's just one day I didn't pray. It's just 1 hour wasted on social media. But what we repeat, we become. And what we tolerate in our routine becomes the ceiling of our potential. If you show me your routine, I can almost predict your results, because your future doesn't start 5 years from now. It starts when you wake up tomorrow. What you do when no one's watching is what determines where you'll stand when everyone's looking. Maybe your goal is to grow spiritually. You want to feel closer to God. That doesn't happen because you listen to one great sermon. It happens because you open His Word every morning. You pray when you feel dry. You show up in worship when your heart feels heavy. You do the small things with big faith, and over time, your spirit becomes strong, grounded, and full of power. Or maybe your dream is to be financially free. That doesn't happen because you pray for a check in the mail. It happens because you track your spending. You say no to things you don't need. You save when it's easier to spend. You invest a little at a time. And suddenly, years later, you look back and realize you've built something powerful, not because of one big moment, but because of small, faithful ones. It's the compound effect. One small decision doesn't seem like much, but repeated over time, it changes everything. Drink one soda today? No big deal. Drink one every day for a year. Now it's impacting your health. Skip one workout, you're fine. Skip it every day, your energy and confidence start to fade. The same is true in the other direction. One prayer today might feel like a whisper, but one prayer a day for 90 days. You're not just praying, you're becoming a person of prayer. Your routine is training your future self. Every decision is a vote for who you want to become. If you want to be strong, make decisions that a strong person would make. If you want to be disciplined, choose what a disciplined person would choose. If you want to walk in purpose, build a routine that aligns with purpose. There's a quote that says, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. That's powerful. Because dreams without a daily plan will always remain wishes. But dreams with a daily routine, That's where the magic happens. That's where God meets us in the rhythm, in the repetition, in the daily yes. So what's in your routine right now that doesn't serve your future? Is it endless scrolling? Late nights that leave you drained? Conversations that distract instead of inspire? Be honest. Because small things left unchecked led to big regrets. But small things done with intention lead to big rewards. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. It's about showing up even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one's cheering. Because when you do that day after day, you build a foundation that nothing can shake. God honors faithfulness in the little. He sees your early mornings, your quiet prayers, your small steps, and he's weaving all of it into a future you can't even imagine. Don't despise your routine. Don't underestimate your habits, because your future, it's not hiding from you. It's already in your hands. It's in your hours. It's in your daily routine. There's a thief that doesn't wear a mask, doesn't break into your house, and doesn't take your money. But every day it sneaks in and robs you of something far more valuable, your purpose. That thief is called procrastination. It's quiet, it's sneaky, and it sounds harmless. It whispers things like, I'll do it later. I'll start tomorrow. There's still time. But over time, those little delays become big detours. And before you know it, you're miles off course from the life you were meant to live. Procrastination feels safe in the moment. It tells you that pushing things off means avoiding stress, avoiding failure, avoiding pressure. But in reality, all it's doing is delaying your destiny. Purpose doesn't wait around forever. And when you live in someday, you miss the power of today. Let's be honest, we've all been there. That assignment you said you'd do after lunch. Suddenly it's midnight and you're scrambling. That phone call you meant to make. Days turn into weeks. That goal you wanted to start in January, it's already May. Procrastination feels like rest, but it's really a trap. It lulls you into comfort while time keeps moving forward. Imagine a builder who has all the materials ready, the wood, the nails, the blueprint, the crew. Everything is in place, but instead of starting the foundation, he says, I'll begin tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, and he says, maybe next week. Months pass, and the materials start to rot. The workers move on, the opportunity fades. That's exactly what happens to our gifts, our callings, our talents when we keep saying later. Purpose requires action, not intention. There's a man I once spoke to who dreamed of opening a nonprofit to help young people. He had vision, he had the passion, he even had experience. But every time I checked in with him, it was the same story. I'm still planning. I just need to do more research. I want the timing to be right. Years passed and the dream never left his heart, but it also never moved forward. He let perfectionism and fear disguise themselves as preparation, and the dream sat still. That's what procrastination does. It convinces you that waiting is wisdom, when really it's worry. It hides behind good intentions and pretty excuses. But here's the truth: God works through movement. He can't bless what you don't start. He told Abraham, go to the land I will show you. Not wait until I give you the full map. Not sit here until you feel ready. No, go. Move, step out. Because purpose lives in progress. Some of the most powerful moments in your life won't come when everything feels perfect. They'll come when you step out before you feel ready, when you say yes even with shaking hands, when you choose obedience over comfort. That's where purpose starts to rise. Look at Jesus' ministry. He didn't wait for ideal conditions. He didn't wait for everyone to believe in him. He moved. He healed. He taught. He walked with urgency. In John 9:4, he said, we must quickly carry out the tasks assigned to us by the one who sent us. The night is coming and then no one can work. Jesus knew time was short. And he didn't waste it. Neither should we. I want to challenge you today. What have you been putting off? What's the thing God placed in your heart that you keep saying you'll do someday? Is it writing that book? Starting that ministry? Having that hard conversation? Breaking that addiction? Don't let procrastination rob you one more day. The time to start is not next month. It's not when the kids are older. It's not when you feel more confident. The time is now. You might say, but I'm scared. What if I fail? Let me tell you something. Failure is not the worst thing. The worst thing is regret. The worst thing is waking up 10 years from now and realizing you never even tried. You never even gave it a shot. Failure can teach you. Failure can shape you. But procrastination, it just paralyzes you. The enemy doesn't have to destroy your dream. He just has to delay it long enough for you to give up. That's why you've got to fight back. Not with noise, but with action. Start small. Make the call. Write the email. Block off the time. Just move. Because when you move, heaven moves with you. Every day you procrastinate is a day your purpose sits dormant. It's a day your gift goes unused. It's a day someone who needs what you carry has to wait. Because here's the truth. Your purpose is not just for you. It's connected to someone else's breakthrough. When you delay, they stay stuck. But when you move, they get free. Procrastination may feel comfortable now, but it always comes with a cost. So don't wait for a sign. Don't wait until you feel brave. Start. Because God is not waiting for your perfection. He's waiting for your participation. Purpose doesn't begin with a grand gesture. It begins with a small step. And every step you take, silence is the lie that says later. You were not created to live in delay. You were created to walk in destiny. So today, make the choice, no more putting it off. No more waiting for the perfect moment. Your purpose is too important. Your calling too valuable. Your time too limited. Don't let procrastination steal one more piece of your future. Get up. Get moving. The time is now. On the outside, a comfort zone looks appealing. It's familiar. It's safe. It's predictable. It's where everything feels under control. No surprises, no pressure, no risks. But here's the dangerous part. While it feels like safety, it functions like a cage. A beautiful one, yes. Maybe it's full of cushions and soft lighting, but it's still a cage. And cages keep you from flying. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die slowly. Not because you're not capable, not because the dream wasn't real, but because you were too comfortable to stretch, too settled to leap, too cozy to confront the fear it takes to grow. See, growth never happens in the easy places. It happens when you step out into the unknown, when your knees are shaking, when your heart's racing. That's where your faith kicks in. On the outside, a comfort zone looks appealing. It's familiar. It's safe. It's predictable. It's where everything feels under control. No surprises, no pressure, no risks. But here's the dangerous part. While it feels like safety, it functions like a cage. A beautiful one, yes. Maybe it's full of cushions and soft lighting, but it's still a cage. And cages keep you from flying. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die slowly. Not because you're not capable. Not because the dream wasn't real. But because you were too comfortable to stretch, too settled to leap, too cozy to confront the fear it takes to grow. See, growth never happens in the easy places. It happens when you step out into the unknown. When your knees are shaking. When your heart's racing. That's where your faith kicks in. Fear always sounds reasonable when you're inside the cage. It will tell you stay where it's safe. You've got a good routine. You know what to expect. Why risk it? But here's the truth. The longer you stay in the cage, the harder it becomes to leave. And before you know it, years go by, opportunities pass, the dream fades. And deep inside, a part of you knows you were made for more. Comfort zones don't just block success. They block obedience. They block purpose. Because God will often call you into places that feel bigger than you. Why? Because He wants you to depend on Him. If you only ever do what you're already good at, where's the growth? Where's the stretching? Where's the faith? Let's look at Peter. When Jesus called him to walk on water, Peter had to step out of the boat. That boat, that was his comfort zone. It was safe. It floated. It made sense. But the miracle didn't happen in the boat. The miracle happened on the water. As long as he kept his eyes on Jesus, he walked in the impossible. But he never would have known that if he had stayed sitting. I wonder, what are you missing because you're still sitting in your boat? What dreams are waiting on the water while you stay stuck on the shore? Maybe it's time to step out. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's unfamiliar. But it's also where God wants to show you what you're made of. And don't think comfort zones only look like laziness or fear. Sometimes they look like success. A good job that pays well but doesn't fulfill you. A routine that works but doesn't stretch you. A relationship that's stable but not healthy. Just because something is comfortable doesn't mean it's right. One young woman I know had a dream to become a musician. She worked a secure job that paid the bills, but every day she felt a tug like there was something more. But leaving her job, risky. Pursuing music, uncertain. Still, she made a decision. She started playing small gigs on weekends. She saved up, she prayed hard, and eventually she stepped out of her comfort zone. Today, she's not only performing, she's thriving, not because the path was easy, but because she was willing to leave the cage. Here's what I've learned: on the other side of your comfort is your calling. On the other side of what's familiar is what's fulfilling. But you'll never know if you don't move. The life you want, it's not coming to find you inside the cage. You've got to open the door and walk out. That's why today I'm challenging you to get uncomfortable. Wake up earlier than you feel like. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Say yes to the opportunity that makes your hands sweat. Sign up for the class. Apply for the job. Speak up. Stand out. Because comfort may feel like peace, but it's often just quiet bondage. God didn't design you to live a small, controlled life. He made you bold. He made you courageous. He made you for more. So break out, fly higher, step wider. And when fear comes knocking, don't hide behind the bars. Face it with faith. Walk through it with purpose. Remember this: every great story starts with someone leaving their comfort zone. So why not let that story be yours? Every day, we face 1,000 little choices. And in each one, we're standing at a fork in the road. One path is easy, tempting, and gives us instant satisfaction. The other path is harder, more uncomfortable, and doesn't offer rewards right away, but it leads to something far greater. That's the road of discipline. And every time you choose that road, you are saying yes to your future and no to your momentary feelings. Discipline isn't about being rigid. It's not about denying yourself joy. It's about seeing beyond the now. It's about trading short-term pleasure for long-term purpose. It's looking at the chocolate cake and saying, I want health more. It's looking at the snooze button and saying, I want progress more. It's looking at hours of scrolling and deciding, I want growth more. Discipline is the quiet power that whispers, not today. Because there's something bigger ahead. Let's bring this to real life. Imagine a student who wants to graduate with honors. The vision is there. The dream is clear. But now it's 11 p.m. and the new season of their favorite show just dropped. That's the moment of decision. One option feels good right now. The other feels like work. But only one will get them closer to that graduation stage. And when they choose to study instead of binge watch, when they choose discipline over distraction, they are investing in their dream. It's the same for anyone chasing greatness. Athletes don't train because it feels good every day. Writers don't write because the words flow effortlessly. Entrepreneurs don't hustle because it's always exciting. They do it because they've learned the secret: what you want most is worth more than what you want now. I remember hearing about a man who wanted to change his life, get healthy, improve his finances, become a better leader. But for years, he stayed in cycles. He starts strong, then fall off, make plans, then make excuses. Why? Because the now kept winning. Now he was tired. Now he was stressed. Now he was hungry. And every time he gave into the now, his future got pushed further away. Then one day, he made a simple shift. He taped a note on his mirror: what do I want most? Not what do I today, not what do I feel like doing, but what matters most. Every time he saw it, it reminded him feelings are fleeting, but your future is permanent. And that note changed his life. He lost the weight. He got out of debt. He started leading others. All because he started choosing discipline over comfort. You see, there's a cost to discipline, but there's also a cost to regret. And only one of those gives you something in return. Regret is heavy. It weighs you down with what ifs and if onlys. But discipline, it builds you. It shapes your character. It makes you stronger, sharper, and more focused. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Think of people you admire, those who've accomplished great things, who walk in purpose, who seem focused and fulfilled. I promise you, they didn't get there by doing what they felt like doing. They got there by doing what needed to be done. They woke up early. They said no to distractions. They made sacrifices. And those sacrifices became the seeds of their success. Even Jesus lived a life of discipline. He didn't take shortcuts. He didn't avoid the hard road. In the garden, he prayed, not my will, but yours be done. That's the highest form of discipline, surrendering the now for the eternal. And if our Savior modeled that kind of focus, how much more should we? Now, maybe you're thinking, but I've already messed up. I've already given in so many times. Let me encourage you, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about getting back up when you fall. Every time you choose your future over your feelings, you're training your mind and spirit. You're saying, this time I'm not getting in. This time I'm going to push through. And discipline doesn't have to start big. Start by waking up 15 minutes earlier to pray. Start by cutting one unhealthy thing from your diet. Start by setting a timer when you work so you don't get distracted. Small. Changes become habits. Habits become a lifestyle. And a disciplined lifestyle becomes a powerful legacy. Don't be fooled, success isn't glamorous in the making. It looks like repetition. It looks like showing up when you're tired. It looks like doing the right thing when no one's watching. But that quiet grind, that's where greatness is born. So the next time you're tempted to choose the easy way out, ask yourself, will this bring me closer to what I want most? Or is it just what I want now? And then choose accordingly. Because the life you dream of, the marriage, the health, the career, the calling, it's not found in wishful thinking. It's found in disciplined living. Discipline is hard, but not having the life you were created for is harder. So take the road that stretches you. Take the road that strengthens you, because in the end, the reward is worth it. You'll look back and thank yourself for every small decision that added up to something extraordinary. Choose what you want most, and let that choice lead you into the life you were born to live.